Yeah, I actually was a vet tech at a veterinarian's office, and at the time, it was like right when COVID had hit, and I actually was like, I got super sick with COVID for about 3 weeks, and so I was at home for 3 weeks from work, and yeah, so that's kind of what prompted me to like look into veganism. Yeah, I actually had a coworker at the time who was vegetarian, who was also a vet tech, and it was interesting because I'd never had someone talk about animals, like like the flesh of an animal in the way that she did. And most people, like, it's very normalized. Like, we just look at a burger and we call it a burger, and that's just what it is for our whole lives. And she, one time during lunch break, saw one of my friends who was eating a burger, and she walked by them and she looked at them and she's like, "Ooh, flesh." And nobody had ever said something like that around me. And so I was just like a little shocked. But it made me think about it, because I was just like, I mean, she's not wrong, like that it is the flesh of another animal. And so I kind of just like, threw it in the back of my head and didn't think about it again. And as I kept working with her, she just kept saying things like that. And she would always bring like vegetarian meals to work, and push for like vegetarian meals to be given to us from like if we got free lunch from like a rep or something like that. And so one day she told me, "You should really look into being vegetarian." And she was kind of like pushing me to do it. And so before this, I had tried to go vegetarian and vegan many times, like in middle school and high school, because I loved animals so much. And I knew it was probably the right thing to do, but I just couldn't get over the normalization of it all, and how honestly I was putting taste over, the life of animals at the time. Um, and so, yeah, I got COVID, and for 3 weeks I was at home, and so I had a lot of free time. And I came across this vegan debate video on YouTube of Joey Carbstrong, if you know who that is. He's an activist in, I think it's Australia, but I might be wrong. Um, but he does these like debate videos where he goes out in public and he sits at a table and he talks to people about veganism, and tries to get people to go vegan. And I watched one of those. And before this, I was just kind of like, I looked at vegans as kind of like extreme, and I would call them crazy. Like, I made fun of vegans, I'm not going to lie. And so for some reason, I was called to watch the video anyways. And after I watched that video, I then watched Gary Yourofsky's speech about veganism. And yeah, that completely changed things for me. And then I forced myself to watch Earthlings, the documentary, and that was what really did it. I was probably bawling my eyes out within like 15 minutes of watching it. And I made myself watch the whole thing, because I knew if I didn't, I would probably like justify not going vegan again, because I did that many times. And so I watched the whole thing, and I went vegetarian overnight, because I just couldn't, there was no justification after that to continue eating animals. And then I'd probably say within a couple of months or a few months after that, I went vegan after watching Dairy is Scary on YouTube and learning about the dairy industry. And yeah, I was always one of those people that was like, I can't give up cheese. Like, cheese is so good. And now I haven't had cheese in 3 years, and I literally don't even think about cheese, like not even vegan cheese. So yeah, and now it's been 3 years since I've been vegan. So yeah. Yeah. Once I went vegan, I felt like more aligned with my values pretty much. It made more sense for me. Like anytime, it sounds silly maybe, but anytime I would drive past like cows, even though like most of the cows that you drive past are being used for like the food industry. When I used to drive past cows, I would be like, oh, they're so cute. Like I love cows so much. And then now after I went vegan, I would drive past them and I was just like, I still felt the same way about them, but now it made more sense because I feel like, I'm not eating them. And so I truly do love them because I'm not harming them, or I'm trying my best not to harm them. Because we live in an imperfect world. So, but yeah, I just like, it just made more sense for me. And I don't know, like for the years before that, when I would say that I love animals and I spend so much time around them, I always felt kind of guilty about it because I was just like, you're definitely eating them though. And so now it's just like, I just feel more aligned and I mean, I feel healthier, but that's like not really the most important thing for me. But those are perks to it. So. So yeah, things changed for me as far as like how I live my life. So after I went vegan, I didn't know what a sanctuary was before that. And so, or I didn't even know they were a thing. And so I found Austin Farm Sanctuary. I think it's July 10th, I think, is my 3-year of volunteering anniversary here. And so I finally went to do my volunteer orientation there, and I met a calf named Wendell, who has since passed, but he just opened my eyes, and I realized, like, it's great to be vegan, but I think I need to be doing more. Like, I think I need to be actually talking about it with people, trying to make change for the animals. And so 6 hours after that, actually, I went to my first Anonymous for the Voiceless Cube, where we show like footage of slaughterhouse footage to the public. And I stood there like in an actual cube of people, and I was holding a TV showing footage, and we have like masks on so that we're anonymous. But it was really it was a huge turning point for me because I got very emotional even just standing there holding it. I wasn't even watching the footage, but I just like got very emotional because I finally felt like I was really doing something. And it was just amazing seeing like the people walking past and stopping and looking at the footage, and people are seeing things that they probably have never seen before, that's being hidden from them. And just like the conversations that were being had with the people that would stop, I overheard some of them, and we had many people like say, oh my gosh, this is horrible, like I'm going vegan, and we would give them information. And so that like started my activist journey. And now I'm an organizer for a local activist group, and currently like we've had like 13 restaurants out of 26 in Austin that sell foie gras actually drop it, because of our protests and everything like that. So we've been really working hard. So we're focused mostly on foie gras right now, but we also do other things like outreach, try and like do legislative work for like zoos and aquariums and foie gras. We try and do everything that we really can, but we're only like a pretty small group. But I mean, for a small group, that's a pretty big, like 13 restaurants to drop it is pretty awesome. So I have to be proud about that. But yeah.